I am in the stairway area here. I believe in the termite report, this was called the utility room. You can see on the wall here, those lines in the area of the drywall that's kind of been broken off and repainted. Those were what were being called out on the termite report as previous shelter tubes. And you can see a little bit of activity was there as well, and kind of along the bottom of the door. There's a little bit of activity, whether it's current or past, but you can see some of those spots on the wall. Those were activity as well. And I have kind of bumped the wall here. And it looks like, you know, what you can see there, there may be more activity behind, but the wall is not soft or able to be poked through easily. The next place was along this is called the rim joist. And it goes back there. This was probably where the most damage was noticed along this joist as you go down. None of it's really surface level, but behind or inside, if you poke around inside of this, and you can see the termite inspector's screwdriver marks as well as some of my own. There's quite a bit of damage on this rim joist, and so you could, I think, reasonably fix this with a sistered rim joist from the corner here all the way back to the duct back there. That should be an acceptable fix. And there is a little bit of, you can notice right there, and that continues on the same board right there. So the subfloor had a little bit of activity. I've poked around quite a bit, and I did not find any areas on the subfloor that appeared to be especially damaged or significantly damaged. And then in here, we have this outside rim joist. You can see there's some damage there. There's damage elsewhere, but that's what's been kind of poked at. Same there. So there's some kind of all along here till you get to about here. I didn't notice any along in here. And then it starts up again a little bit through here. You can see some issues. And you can see some water staining too. That water, if it gets in at all, is a big attractant for termites and other wood destroying organisms. And so then you get to here, and there's some damage again. And there's a method of repairing this rim joist, in this case called blocking, where you cut out a piece that's the same size as this and you put it in there. On a brick home, you can't replace that whole front rim joist because you have a brick face on the house, so to get into that to replace it would be very difficult. So blocking is generally considered an acceptable method of repairing that. And the actual joists here, so the rim joist, that outside joist, has damage in several places where that blocking would be needed. The joists themselves, there's only a few of them that look like they might have had a little bit of minor damage, like this one. But I poked at most of those, and I didn't notice any major damage on them. Of course, trying to probe every single one of these boards all the way across in every location is time prohibitive. But as far as I could tell, the only damage to these joists, so the joists running that way, is in a couple of spots. There seemed to be, like right here, a little bit of damage and settlement. But overall, they seem to be in fairly good shape. But getting water away from this side of the house would make a big difference in any future activity or future damage. So I would highly recommend getting the grading addressed for the front side of the house here, as well as getting a termite treatment as recommended by the termite inspector or the pest inspector. I also wanted to point out that most of the physical damage to the rim joist in the basement, at least in the room on the front side of the house, was along this planter. So it's possible that that planter is holding quite a bit of water and actually giving the insects a place to stay and get into the house from.